Welcome everybody to another episode of Into the Stratusphere. I'm your girl Cindy G. Hope you guys are doing okay, especially Bulletcast Nation living in Texas or anywhere in the states or country that's affected by the crazy weather you guys are dealing with recently. I know I've checked on social media and on the news about what's going on down south, mainly in Texas, about that crazy snowstorm that power outages to pipes bursting to infrastructure damages and everything that's going on. I'm sending my love, I'm sending my prayers and positive energy to you guys out there. Hope you guys are surviving this madness of the snowstorm. Hope you guys have enough supplies to survive a couple days or anything like that. So sending my love to you guys. You guys are going to survive this no matter what. Anyway, guys, we are now talking about wrestling. That's what we're here for. And so, episode 27. Wait, what? That is right. I kind of think of this name of the episode because of certain events that's been happening, going on, especially with Impact Wrestling this past weekend of the Impact Plus special, and also what happened on AEW Dynamite regarding the announcement of an upcoming match at the upcoming pay-per-view AEW Revolution, y'all. And I know I'm aware that this Sunday is another WWE pay-per-view, which is Eliminations Chamber, which I highly suggest you check out the last episode of the Bulletcast where Philip and Brandon did their predictions, and they're going to be doing the recap follow after the pay-per-view is over on Sunday. But hey, this is a non-WWE show, so just saying, y'all. Anyway, you guys, so usual episode for today, brief wrestling news headline. I'll be giving guys my overall thoughts and results of Impact Wrestling's No Surrender, which took place this past weekend, and also the usual recap for Impact Wrestling. Also, brief highlight from AEW Dynamite, bonus, like some segment featuring like some Impact Wrestling star, and I'm going to be covering like my overall thoughts of the AEW Women's Tournament, which is Serena Deeb versus Riho, and what's the upcoming announcement for the AEW Revolution's pay-per-view regarding a certain match, y'all. Anyway, without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and kick things off with the wrestling news headline, y'all. So, this past weekend, there has been an announcement regarding a recent signing, especially one person that made their return during the NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. So, Fightful Select did broke the news this past weekend that, of course, Christian Casanova and, surprisingly enough, Blake Christian recently got signed to WWE. So, for those of you know who is Christian Casanova, he's been wrestling in tons of indies promotion, including GCW. He is also part of the stable called Culture Season. He is known as the Top Talent, and he's been in the industry for 7 years. And y'all know who is Blake Christian, the All Heart. We've seen him in GCW. We've seen him in New Japan Strong. And he recently had a match at Impact Wrestling's No Surrender this past weekend. So these are the two guys that Fightful Select did actually announce. And that's pretty good for them. I know they're going to be doing great in WWE. However, there is actually one more person that recently got signed this past weekend. That is right. Former Impact Wrestling's Knockouts champion, La Güera Loca, Taya Valkyrie, has been recently signed to WWE. So, Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com did report that the former Impact Wrestling star has signed with WWE after recently becoming a free agent. Johnson noted that Valkyrie, who is married to John Morrison, is expected to be part of the next announced class of signings and was backstage at last week's WWE NXT taping. So, major news going on in the world of wrestling, especially like who is going to be the next NXT class signing. So only 3 people has been announced this past weekend of who is going to be reporting to the Performance Center. So I just wanted to send my love and congratulations to Blake Christian, Christian Casanova and Taya Valkyrie. I know they're going to be announcing more of like who's going to be the next class, so we're going to find out. I'll make sure to keep tabs to you guys about it as well. So these are like the latest confirmed news, like from different reports. However, there's this one person that actually made his, well, you can say he kind of made his return, but he's going under a new name. So, remember former Impact Wrestling star, former one half of the NWA Tag Team Champion, Eli Drake. Well, Eli Drake made his quote-unquote return to NXT. Well, back then I know his name was Sean Richter in NXT like many years ago, but now he's somewhat back in NXT, but he's under a new name that is like one of the weirdest and most horrible names I ever heard. LA Knight. LA Knight. Really? That's like a name after a sports team, mainly like a hockey team or a baseball team or like whichever sporting team. Like, really. So pretty much he's officially made his quote-unquote return to NXT. So welcome back, LA Knight. Wishing you best of luck. So yeah, so anyway, those are the recent news about what's going on with the latest signee / return. Now in other news, of course, Sammy Guevara is in hot water with AEW due to creative issues. So there has been a lot of conflicting report going on. Ever since that, Sammy Guevara has been written off after he said, I quit last week's episode of AEW Dynamite. I quit to being part of Inner Circle, and he made his face turn. So he actually, there's reports that like he's having issues regarding the whole creative issues, especially for him making his appearance to Impact Wrestling. So a lot of conflicting report going on about like him being like the newest member of the Decay prior to like announcing it was AAA wrestling star Black Taurus, to like he made a pitch to be the one that's going to compete for the X Division title and then return to AEW as the X Division champion. There's a lot of like conflicting issues going on, but whatever Sammy Guevara is going through, hopefully him and AEW and Impact Wrestling will work things out, but who knows. We'll be seeing him. Maybe he'll be back probably at Revolution. Highly unlikely, but yeah. And on the last news, and this is kind of like a sad one, but a glimmer of hope's news. So, on Thursday, February 18, former WCW star, who is also in Impact Wrestling, Conan, has tested positive for COVID-19. And unfortunately, he had to be transferred to the hospital just to recover from the illness. So as you guys know, that Conan he is immunocompromised. He has like some of the medical issues that he's dealing with. So as of now, he is in recovery. And according to what Hugo Sandoval just reported, that he is out of danger and hopes to be giving a medical discharge between today and tomorrow, which is on which is like 18 and 19, and at this time there has been no updated. By the time of the recording of the audio, sorry. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, kind of like the visual portion, but it's just like the screen went into the Stratusphere. But anyway, so I'm recording it on Friday, February 19. There's no words yet, but Conan is still in recovery and according to a Sandoval say he'll be able to continue treatment from home once he is declared to discharge. Conan is in our prayers and his family as we wish him a speedy recovery. So he is still hospitalized just to recover from the virus. So yeah, you guys, and I know the wrestling world is actually sending out tweets wishing him best of luck in his speedy recovery and all that. So from myself and to the Bulletcast, we wanted to wish Conan a very speedy recovery. Hope he gets better. I know we're still in a pandemic. COVID is still taking over the world and all that stuff. But yeah. Yeah, y'all. Anyway, and last of the news, of course, so as you guys know, New Japan Pro Wrestling has a new young lion. His name is Yuto Nakashima. Unfortunately, on Valentine's Day on February 14, during the Road to Castle Attack, he sustained an injury during his debut match against Yuya Uemura, y'all. Like, oh my god. I actually did watch Road to Castle Attack yesterday, and from what I saw with the injury, he dislocated his shoulder that the referee has to stop after 30 seconds within the match. So at this time, with New Japan Pro Wrestling did report that he's going to be out of action for the remainder of the Castle Attack tour. So we're wishing Yuto Nakashima very best of luck. Hopefully he'll get better. I know it sucks for the fact that he just debuted in New Japan Pro Wrestling as part of the New Japan Young Lion. But once he'll be back, he's going to be stronger and he's going to be ready to go for his re-debut. Anyway, y'all, so enough of the wrestling news headline. We're going to go dive deep to the results and give my overall thoughts of this past weekend's Impact Plus special, which is No Surrender. So, overall, I really enjoy this Impact Plus special, even though there has been a technical issue. For those of you who are watching it on Impact Plus, there has been a technical issue once the show starts, and unfortunately, the technical issue ended when the 6-person tag team match just started. But luckily for Impact Wrestling, I'm glad they did posted the cold opening intro for the special on Instagram. I did watch. It's just Tommy Dreamer talking about, his love for wrestling, how he got started, especially on the day of his birthday as well. So it was a very beautiful cold opening. I really enjoyed it a lot. It's very touching. Shows that how much he loves being in the industry for 30 plus years, you guys. So all in all, besides the cold opening and also the technical issue, it was a really good special. However, the only issue I have is the match card placement and the promotion. I know that everyone expected the triple threat match for the three-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championship as the main event. But unfortunately, the real main event match was the Impact World Championship between the champ Rich Swann versus Tommy Dreamer. So it was kind of like a misleading promotion. I wish Impact Wrestling should have saying your co-main event or promoted with a different poster, like a side-by-side. But hey, that's just me. It's just to market it away. Because I know you have a lot of people are trying to tune in because of course, Private Party being part of AEW is getting a title shot against the Good Brothers, and then they changed to 3-way tag when Beer Guns inserted. So, all in all, it was a good special, but I'm going to talk about what happened before No Surrender ended, which I'm going to save that once I'm done reading the results, y'all, because, y'all, I was speechless. That's what the name of the episode was dedicated to. Wait, what? Alright, y'all. So, for the results. So, for the 6-person tag team match, DK, which is the team of Black Taurus, Crazy Steve, and Rosemary, defeated the team of Triple XL and Tennille Dashwood with Kayla with the K by ringside, which I thought Kayla with the K said he's not going to be there, but I guess he lied. He's just providing distraction, but whatever. Brian Myers and Hernandez defeated Eddie Edwards and Matt Cardona, which that got me shook because I did not expect them to win, even though it was kind of like a lazy finisher with the roll-up, but oh well. Jake Something defeated Diener with Violence by Design by Ring Quarter. However, afterwards, Violence by Design and Diener did attack Jake Something right away, leaving him laying down. So the feud is still continue, which I'll get into that during the Impact Wrestling recap. Josh Alexander defeated Ace Austin with Madman Fulton, Blake Christian, Chris Bay, Daivari, Suicide, Trey Miguel, and Willie Mack in a triple threat revolver match for the #1 contendership for the X Division title, which I was surprised, y'all, I did not expect Josh Alexander. The final three was him, Trey Miguel, and Ace Austin. I thought Ace Austin was about to have it, but of course with Josh, with the spinning pile driver, he did pick up the victory, and I was like, oh crap. So if he won, that means we're going to get Rohit Raju to become the new X Division champion. But I'll get into the results after I'll read the next results for that. Fire and Flava, which is Kira Hogan and Tasha Steele, defeated Havoc and Nevaeh and retained their Knockouts Tag Team title in a Texas Tornado no DQ match. It was for a pretty solid match, and of course, you saw afterwards, Havoc did, was puzzled about why Nevaeh did left ringside. But yeah, TJP defeated Rohit Raju with Mahabali Shera and retained the X Division Championship match, which, that was pretty shocking. But, oh well. And then you have Jordan Grace, Jazz, and ODB defeated the team of Deonna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan, in a 6 Knockouts Tag Team match. And then your co-main event match you have is the Good Brothers defeated the Beer Guns and Private Party with Matt Hardy in a 3-way tag team match, thus retaining the Impact World Tag Team Champion. And you saw what happened afterwards, that Matt Hardy was very disappointed with Private Party that he left. So yeah, and in your main event match, you have Rich Swann defeated Tommy Dreamer and retained the Impact World title, which it was a pretty solid match, especially a lot of good sportsmanship. I know people, I saw on Twitter saying, thank you, Tommy. I mean, he's not retiring, but it looks like he's going to be like in a part-time base since he is part of creative with Impact Wrestling. But hey, this is not the last time we'll be seeing him. And then afterwards, you have Moose came by and attacked both Tommy Dreamer and Rich Swann. Now, that's it for the result. However, before No Surrender ended, we had a video package from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And guess who just announced that's going to make an appearance for Impact Wrestling? That is right. Your 2019 New Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag League Champion and former IWGP Tag Team Champion David Finlay and Juice Robinson, aka FinJuce, will be making their debut on Impact Wrestling. And that's where Twitter and social media went crazy. I was like, wait, what? FinJuce to Impact Wrestling. It was major that everybody's talking about. And of course, you have that biblical term, the forbidden door is open. That is right. So it was a lot of like talk going on about like what's, with this whole like partnerships going on with Impact Wrestling now. Like now it looks like they're going to be shipping it more with like the focus on Impact Wrestling, and then AEW continue like with Impact Wrestling for that. But I'll get into like the whole coverage in just a second. But I think it's really cool that FinJuice is going to make any appearance on Impact Wrestling, especially utilizing the New Japan Pro Wrestling Star. I know there has been questions going on, like, is it because of, like, they won't be able to travel all the way to Japan because of the restrictions and all that? I mean, as I stated, like, in past episodes, you guys, I mean, all these companies are working together to help boosting the ratings for their prospective network. Like, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they just debuted their show on Roku a couple days ago. I mean, boosting up the numbers, of course. I don't know what the numbers is for Impact Plus and AEW, like, with the upcoming pay-per-view that's going to be on March 7th. And also, like, trying to get the ratings going on. So, it's just a good way to, like, help one promotion one another to just, like, coexist it. But yeah, you guys. And so the next Impact Plus special will be on March 13th, which is Sacrifice. So you guys, that's like a couple days after AEW's Revolution. So something is going to be happening. But whatever it is, we're going to find out like within the next couple weeks for Impact Wrestling. But yeah, y'all. Anyway, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to Impact Wrestling's recap for Tuesday, February 16th. So, Impact Wrestling did debut their show called Before the Impact, which it's kind of like the pre-show, like highlighting like past specials and past episodes of Impact Wrestling. But then again, they have like a pre-show match, surprising enough. But for the sake of it, I'm actually going to be just giving like a brief thoughts about the pre-show match, and that's it. So the pre-show match for Before the Impact is the team of Triple XL versus DK in a tag team match. It was kind of like your typical rematch, except there's no ladies involved except for Rosemary's by the corner. It was an alright match so far. Like, we've seen that there has been a lot of like animosity going on after what happened at No Surrender, and then of course Crazy Steve did do the roll-up after a distraction for Black Taurus, and Rosemary giving AC Romero the green mist. Thus, Crazy Steve rolled up and picked up the victory. So it was pretty much a decent tag team match. Anyway, moving on to the main show. So the opening of the match you have is the X Division Championship match between TJP versus Josh Alexander, who just won at No Surrender for the #1 contendership. So anyway, it was a really fun match, especially there's like more of like a collegiate style going on. But with TJP, he is like pretty versatile too, like technical to high flying to, of course, especially with his lucha background as well. And pretty much it was a pretty solid matchup together. Like TJP with the Tornado DDT, you have Josh Alexander with the surfboard stretch, and then transitioning to an ankle lock before a single arm powerbomb. And then of course you have like TJP with the enziguri before Josh casted him up. And of course at the end TJP did the second attempt to do the Mamba Splash after he did the detonation kick, and thus TJP did retain the X Division Championship. So pretty much is a fun match, you guys. And well, what's next? Like with Josh Alexander, I mean, I was surprised he's part of like the X Division matchup, especially like kind of like more of like a getting a title shot. But I just wish like for him he should chase just for the Impact World title, but we'll see how it's gonna go. Anyway, you guys, so afterwards you have is the Fatal 4-Way match, which is Suicide versus Trey Miguel versus Willie Mack versus Daivari. So it was a pretty much a fun matchup, like a lot of like amazing like high flying to striking to versatile like skills from like these X Division stars. Of course, yeah, Trey hits Willie with the Jawbreaker, and of course you have is Willie catch a suicide in midair and hit the pair of Samoan drop before hitting a standing moonsault for a double 2 count. And of course Daivari did his uppercut to Trey Miguel, and a lot of like offense is going on, especially mainly from Trey Miguel. He is definitely the star of this matchup altogether. And of course, at the end, Trey did hit Suicide with the diving Meteora and thus pick up the victory. So right afterwards, Trey left the ring, and then when he went outside, of course, here's Sami Callihan standing there, applying him, giving a negative words of encouragement, calling him a failure as he needed. Like, it comes to prove that like the feud is still continuing, especially Sami Callihan spurting a lot of negativity to Trey, saying that like he has no passion, he has no drive. Hell, if he's gonna be saying something really effed up, you know Trey's gonna snap. I mean, yeah. And regarding with TJP, what's going to be happening, of course, like TJP was in Scott D'Amore's office, and out comes Ace Austin that he wanted a title opportunity. After all, he won the X Division Cup, which, of course, he should have won at No Surrender and being the #1 contendership instead of Josh Alexander, for crying out loud. But that's just me, you know. However, Scott D'Amore did announce that he's going to make a 6-man match. A 6-man match for next week's episode of Impact Wrestling, and where the winning team will face off in a triple threat the following week, and the winner gets an X Division title shot. So it's going to be a 6-man tag team match where the winning team will face each other to get the number 1 contendership spot. So, alright, not bad. I just want whatever team Ace Austin will be part of, they need to win. And then have Ace Austin win. That's just what I'm saying, y'all. Anyway, you guys, afterwards, you have is the matchup between Hernandez with Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona. And prior to the match, of course, Brian did actually pay Hernandez what a cash. And then, of course, Fall Out Boy came by. He wanted the money, saying he wanted to invest. And Hernandez did actually accuse him of having a gambling addiction, which is like one of those post-Russell House, Who Shot Bravo storyline that's like, I cannot keep up with this stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, the match was pretty decent, but it's like took a lot of chunk of the time for like the commercial break for that. And so you see a lot of like, defense going on for both guys, especially with Matt Cardona with a flipping senton before he got knocked down by the apron from Hernandez. But yeah, anyway, you guys, at the end, after the commercial, Matt Cardona counter Hernandez's Border Ross, and then he did the radio silent to pick up the victory. And afterwards, Matt was trying to be interviewed by Gia Miller. Unfortunately, Brian Myers got interrupted from it, and then an attack from Hernandez, and then they both attack until Eddie Edwards came by and make the save. So there you have it. The feud is still continuing on. I think it's just going to be like a setup feud going on between Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, probably going to be leading up to Sacrifice, which is going to be like less than three weeks away, but we'll see what's up. Anyway, we're going to go into the AEW commercial post-Valentine's Day, where you have the two Tonys, Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan, where Tony Khan complains that he has no Valentines, even though he was wearing a heart-shaped sunglasses. But he said the gift for the fans is the money and the forbidden doors altogether. So pretty much they just promote the upcoming episode of AEW Dynamite, and that's it. And then you have, of course, you guys, get this, we're all waiting for. So that's right. As prior to the announcement of FinJuce's appearance, they said they're going to have there'll be an action. And they'll be up against Reno Scum. Y'all, when is the last time we seen Reno Scum? Because I know they were part of kind of like a twisted storyline with her, like, being Hernandez's henchman for the money situation. Or like hired by the Good Brothers. It's like so many aspects, like what's going on. I understand why they haven't appeared because, Adam Thorstone, he is currently working at the medical field, and, during this hectic time, like they're trying to do like limited appearances, but it's great seeing Reno Scum, especially they were in an interesting ring gears, of course. I know they've been working out so much, but yeah, so it's good to see Reno Scum, of course, and that's where we're leading up to Reno Scum versus making their Impact Wrestling debut, New Japan Pro Wrestling star, FinJuce. And guess what, y'all? FinJuce has their own Impact Wrestling theme song. I thought they're going to be coming out to Juice Robinson's New Japan Pro Wrestling's theme song, which is one of my favorites. But no, they actually came out. It was kind of like your typical generic Impact Wrestling's theme. Like, it was alright, but kind of not impressed by it. But that's just me. Anyway, overall, it was a really fun match. A lot of like technical counter going on between Dave Finlay and Lester the Legend before Lester hit the spine buster to Dave Finlay, and that's where Reno Scum took a double team counter from David Finlay, isolating him in the corner. And so it's a lot of like a lot of like tag team strike going on for both guys. I was very impressed by it. However, there's this finisher that was so surprised I have not seen before in New Japan Pro Wrestling from FinJuice. I thought they're going to be doing the Doomsday Device finisher, but no. Actually, FinJuice did the diving splash to pin Adam Thorstone, and thus FinJuice pick up the victory in a new finisher that I've not seen before. But all in all, it was a really good tag team. I enjoyed it pretty much. And then afterwards, out comes the Good Brothers, where they congratulate FinJuice on their debut, and they actually reminisce the memory of them being in Japan as the former young boys who haven't had much success as they have in their career. They're making fun of like when the Good Brothers used to be in Impact Wrestling. I mean, not Impact, but New Japan Pro Wrestling, being part of Bullet Club, while Dave Finlay and Juice Robinson were the New Japan Young Lions. So that's kind of like the technical term, like the young boys. However, Juice Robinson did clap back and say, this ain't 2015. And we're not young boys anymore. And so Dave Finlay did cut a promo saying that they have so many successes and they won. And so the Good Brothers, they can buy the first round as long as Carl don't pass out and cover his own piss. And that's end the promo. So it looks like we're going to be having like an exclusive feud only on Impact Wrestling between FinJuice and the Good Brothers. Because I know the Good Brothers have a lot of their work cut out because, of course, they normally appear in AEW Dynamite just to be on Kenny Omega's corner. But then there's something going to be happening in Impact, AEW going on, but I know they have a lot of work cut out. They're still the current Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. So that is like a setup for the feud between the Good Brothers and FinJuice. But hey, I'm for it. And of course, you have a counter between Beer Guns and Rohit Raju and Shira. So it looks like that's going to be a new feud going on. And I'm glad Rohit is out of the X Division picture. And since, of course, Mahabali Shira made his return, of course, the reunion of the Desi Hit Squad. But I must say, the face-to-face counter between Shira and James Storm seems so awkward. I was laughing because y'all remember Shira was part of James Storm's stable alongside Sonata and TJP, which he was, of course, Manic. Called the Revolution or something. Oh my god. That was so bad. But then, of course, Johnny Swinger made a save and invite Beer Guns to the casino, which I'm not going to cover that whole storyline because it's pointless, but whatever. Anyway, your next match you have is Tennille Dashwood with Kayla with the K versus Nevaeh. And prior to that, Havoc did run into Nevaeh and told her what's up, what's wrong, and all that after Nevaeh did walk away after their defeat at No Surrender. And Nevaeh says she'd rather be on her own. She's tired of losing. And while they were in the middle of talking, out comes Tennille and Kayla with the K. Tennille using her Instagram quotes to her and stuff. And so that's where they issue a challenge. All in all, it was an alright match. Nothing too much to say for that. I mean, you have Tennille did her Taste of Tennille signature move in a corner, and then Nevaeh with the clothesline. But you know what? I'm surprised. Tennille did the spotlight kick and then pick up the victory in a clean finish without any help from Kayla with a K. Like, what the hell? This is like the first time I've seen in a while that Tennille Dashwood did defeat Nevaeh in the clean finish. So I was pretty shocked, but it was your alright match so far. But yeah. Anyway, and then you have is a video packaged by Violent by Design, where of course Diener did cut a promo that he did what he did to defeat beat up Jake something after Jake did beat him, and he taught him a lesson. So next week on Impact Wrestling, of course, he called him out. It's going to be Diener versus Jake something in a tables match. that is going to be pretty interesting. And of course, you have like your knockout segment with Deonna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan. Where Susan, well, actually, yeah, she is acting like a Karen. She was like acting like a Karen. So she was upset about what happened at No Surrender, and she ran into Scott D'Amore. And so Deonna had an idea. So Deonna did convince Scott that she want Kimberly and Susan to compete for the Knockouts Tag Team title. However, Scott has an idea that next week on Impact Wrestling, it'll be the team of Jordynne Grace and Jazz versus Kimberly and Susan for the number one contendership for the Knockouts Tag Team title against the current champ, Fire and Flavo. So that's what's going on for next week. And now for your main event of the match, you have it's a old school rules match, which is Tommy Dreamer versus Moose. And it was a pretty solid main event match. I enjoyed it. Two guys brawl the hell out of each other out. You have a lot of like weaponry. Tommy Dreamer used trash can lids to, of course, chairs to kendo stick and even a freaking chair. Like, oh my, y'all. And so it was pretty much a fun match. And then Moose did an STO on the chair to Tommy Dreamer. And then the table did brought out where Moose did brought out the table. And he was about to do something until Dreamer did spear Moose to the table. Like, holy crap. And then he grabbed the kendo stick, and then, of course, Moose got whacked by it. And, of course, at the end, Moose with the air nagi, and then he went with a spear, and thus Moose did pick up the victory. And so, yeah, y'all, that is it for the episode of Impact Wrestling. Oh, no, it was your typical episode of Impact Wrestling. I expect a little bit bigger from FinJuce, like, for their debut, but it was kind of like your post-match is kind of like a bit of a cool-down aspect, too. So, for the letter grade. And before that, I forgot to get my letter grade for No Surrender. Despite the fact that it was misguided by the match order for the co-main event, also a little bit of a technical error, but the only thing I kind of say was Tommy Dreamer's passion and drive. The three-way revolver match for the number one contendership for the X Division title. Also, the knockouts, 6 knockouts tag team match, and the main event match to steal it. I'm giving it a solid B. For Impact Wrestling this week, I hate to say it, I'm giving it a B-. I expected a little bit, like, surprise, especially what's going to be happening. I know for a fact that, like, you know, not having Sammy Guevara to make his Impact Wrestling debut would have, like, it would make the whole storyline bigger, like whatever circumstances, but hey, they had to change it up and they don't need him because of what's going on. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and shift into gear. We're going to go into AEW bonus. Now, so to recap, to highlight who is advancing to the Japanese side, of course, if you want to check out the full depth of the Women's World Tournament in the Japanese bracket, I suggest to check out the Instagram video I posted on Instagram TV on my personal Instagram page, you guys, so I highly check it out. So in the recap, you have is Yuka Sakazaki defeated Mei Segura. You have Emi Sakura defeated Benny, and I forgot to mention it on the review on Instagram TV. Benny actually wore a kimono that was gifted by the late Hana Kimura, which, rest in peace, Hana. I know she is very proud of Benny. Rio Mitsunami defeated Maki Itoi, and Aja Khan defeated Rin Katakura. So for next week, you have is Rio Mitsunami versus Aja Khan and Yuka Sakazaki versus Emi Sakura. However, AEW added 2 more matches on the YouTube channel on Monday. Tay Conti versus Nyla Rose and Dr. Britt Baker versus Anna Jay. So again, I'll be covering those matches on this upcoming Monday on my personal Instagram page as part of the Into the Stratusphere Instagram video edition. Again, my Instagram page account is simply_C_OK, SIMPLY_C_OK. I'll give it a plug again towards the end of the show as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and recap the Women's World Title Eliminator Tournament, which is Serena Deeb versus Riho. Surprisingly enough, that match started at 5:21 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I couldn't have been more happier than ever. And I'm glad it was before the squash match between Orange Cassidy versus Luther. Anyway, digress on it. Anyway, so this is the first time in almost a year that Riho made her AEW return, because she did. Her last appearance was when, of course, the kickoff of the AEW Empty Arena show when the pandemic hit, and that's where it's about before the travel restriction happened. So it was really great to see Riho, and especially in her ring gear, that it looks so much polished. All in all, this match was really freaking incredible. Now, Serena Deeb, her left knee was sprayed because she tweaked it like a week ago, according to what Jim Ross said during commentary. And so she did put one hell of a fight, despite the fact that her knee was hurting so much. But I give mad respect to her, and also to Riho. These ladies did tour out the house. Like, you have so many different styles of wrestling, mainly more of the collegiate style of it all. Like, Serena Deeb did hit Riho with some quick takedowns. Riho does a bridge to get out of Deeb's hole. Deeb's get back up and get some strikes on Riho, and the Deeb's had Riho along the ropes and catapult her to the rope. So it was really much an amazing match. However, like, you saw like a scary moment where Riho did actually knock Serena Deeb's knee on the apron, and during the picture-in-picture, you saw the doctor was checking in on Deeb while Riho was down, and just to make sure if she can able to compete, and she did continue on too. So I'm glad she did finish up the match for it, especially you have Riho got the energy and hits a big Snapdragon suplex on Deeb. Deeb gets to control the match again and hit Riho with the dragon screw while her knee was kind of like aching in pain too. That's what I've noticed. And of course, it's a lot of like counters and maneuvers. Yeah, Riho did the 619 followed by the diving foot stop. And then she did the Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. And of course, at the end, of course, Riho and Deeb exchanged multiple pins, attempt to have numerous near falls. And of course, Riho with a very interesting submission hold. Thus, Serena Deeb tap and Riho pick up the victory. So, what a welcome back match to Riho altogether. And she's now advancing to the semifinal, which she is going to be challenging Thunder Rosa. That's right, she's going to be challenging against Thunder Rosa, probably on the upcoming episode of AEW Dynamite. But hey, I'm for it, y'all. So, we're going to see what's going on next. So, yeah, and again, I'll be covering the rest of the tournament that's going to be airing on Monday. So check out Into the Stratusphere Instagram video edition on Monday after Monday Night Raw, because I know some of you guys still watch WWE Monday Night Raw, of course. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. So the next match I want to get in touch because it kind of involves with, you know, the Good Brothers, of course, the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz for the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, of course. And yes, I am aware of Jim Ross's botch moment from Kenny Omega saying, Kenny Omega, the WWE Champion. Yeah, biggest botch, but whatever. So you have Kenny, Don Callis, and the Good Brothers watching the match backstage via the TV, WWE style. That's what I call it. But yeah, the tag team match. So, it was a really fun tag match altogether, especially a lot of like back and forth counter going on between Matt Jackson and Ortiz. And of course, you have like the Inner Circle on ringside, but then thank God the referee did kick them out during the commercial break, like the picture by picture. A lot of like tag team maneuvers going on. You have Santana hit the avalanche back arrow onto Nick. He goes for a pin, but Nick did hit that. Ortiz has Nick in a submission hold, but Matt makes the save by coming with a massive elbow drop. Santana and Ortiz are going for the suplex, but Matt breaks up and they hit the Doomsday device. So a lot of like impressive moveset as always from the Young Bucks for it. And plus, forget this, the Young Bucks' parents, especially Papa Bucks, of course, were watching by ringside with the rest of the baby faces from the rest of the rosters and also stars from AEW Dark. But yeah, at the end, which here's the thing, I hate this this ending of the match. I expect it a little bit bigger. Matt Jackson, Santana Ortiz powerbomb Matt Jackson to the outside of the ring. Santana got back in the ring, but then Matt Jackson pinned Santana with the inside cradle, and thus the Young Bucks did pick up the victory and retain the title. An inside cradle, like, I was even a fan of this finish. I expected a little bit bigger. It kind of killed the momentum of this match. They were going all out, but, you know, it is what it is. Afterwards, the Inner Circle, the rest of the Inner Circle members started attacking the Young Bucks. And, of course, the camera did show Kenny Omega did try to have the Good Brothers to, like, get them out to make the save for it. But they were, like, very, very hesitant. And, of course, the Young Bucks still getting their butt kicked for it. But the only person who did came out trying to make a save was actually Brandon Cutler, but failed because Jake Hager took him down. And thus, of course, spoiler alert, Jake Hager versus Brandon Cutler next week on Dynamite. But, yeah, while the Young Bucks got their butt kicked, of course, that's where the Good Brothers came out and then did make the save. Thus, the Inner Circle got out of the ring. And, of course, there has been a confrontation going on between Papa Bucks and Jericho. And, of course, Papa Bucks did pushes Jericho. And, of course, MJ got into his face and say, "This messed up." But it's funny. But, yeah, y'all, that's what's going on afterwards. And then you have the gender reveal. Brandy Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. And disclaimer, she did not reveal the gender of the baby during the recent AEW Heels meeting. I just want to let y'all know. I did not know about it, but she did say that she's going to be making a gender reveal announcement on Dynamite to surprise Cody. Just want to let y'all know. She did not reveal any gender of the baby. I did not know, okay? So, Cody and Brandy came out. Pyro, color, it's a girl, y'all. So congratulations to Mama and Papa Nightmare. They're going to have a beautiful baby girl. Baby girl Nightmare, y'all. Love it. Anyway, you cut to the promo of Jon Moxley. He cut a promo about the upcoming match of the main event match and also his match against Kenta at New Japan Strong for the IWGP United States Champion. That will take place on February 26th. Am I going to be covering this matchup on the next episode of Into the Stratusphere? On this episode, not on the Instagram video that I normally do, before I shift it to covering it for Teddy Turnbuckle's YouTube channel. Just saying, but yeah. And so, afterwards, he says he's gonna go in after everyone and say he will get back his AEW heavyweight title from Kenny Omega. And thus, that's leading up to the main event match, which is the team of Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny, versus the team of Jon Moxley, Rey Fenix, and Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Robber. That was a pretty much an interesting main event match. It's nothing too wow about it. But, I mean, a lot of like impressive counter, a lot of strikes, a lot of brutality going on. Especially Rey Fenix, of course, with his high-flying action. And, of course, like you saw, like the Blade began double-teaming Archer and Kingston as well, as they lay in some heavy strikes to Archer, but then Archer make the comeback and hit the double clothesline on Kingston and the Blade. Of course, Phoenix gets back in the ring after getting a big kick from the Blade, and of course, it's like a lot of impressive maneuver from him as well. And of course, Moxley came in, and then And of course, a couple strikes for him and the Butcher, though. And then you saw a little bit of an interference from the Bunny as well to Lance Archer. But hey, it was a pretty impressive main event match. And of course, at the end, Jon Moxley did the Paradigm Shift / the Death Rider. That's right, I'm still going to use his New Japan Pro Wrestling finisher name, the Death Rider, to Eddie Kingston, thus pick up the victory. And afterwards, while he was celebrating, out comes the Good Brothers attacking Moxley. Well, of course, Archer and Rey Fenix were like outside the ring down. And once the Good Brothers did beat the crap out of Jon Moxley, out comes Kenny Omega. And then the Good Brothers hold him, and that's where Kenny delivered the V-Trigger. And thus, not one, but two V-Trigger. And then he cut a promo saying that he tells Moxley that he knows he invoked his rematch clause, and Tony set up a match. So, he told Jon Moxley there's going to be a stipulation match on AEW Revolution. Get this. The speculation match he announced, he said, we will have an exploding barbed wire death match at AEW Revolution. That's right, y'all. The match has been announced for the main event at AEW Revolution. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. Exploding barbed wire match. Holy crap. Everybody went crazy. And thus, you guys, that ends the whole, like, the AEW Dynamite. But, yeah, exploding barbed wire match. That's gonna be major because this is gonna be the first time that particular match will be in U.S. soil on a major television. I highly suggest you guys to check out Terry Funk versus, and forgive me if I botched this wrestler's name, Atsushi Onita, you guys. I highly suggest checking that out. And Atsushi Onita versus Lele Hayabusa. Those are the two of the exploding death match I highly suggest to see because, like, what you're going to be seeing is going to be insane as well. But I'm going to get into, like, you know, when the upcoming prediction for AEW Revolution is coming up, especially my concern about it too. But, y'all, this is going to be insane for this altogether. And thus, it's crazy. So, the matches has been confirmed for AEW Revolution. You have the Young Bucks versus the Inner Circle, which is Chris Jericho and MJF with Rollo for the AEW World Tag Team Champion. Then you have Team Taz, which is Brian Cage and Ricky Stark versus the team of Darby Allin and Sting in a street fight. And then you have is Hikaru Shida versus whoever's the winner of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament for the AEW Women's World Championship. And then you have is Adam Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy in a big money match. And the winner received the loser's 2021 first quarter earning, which, interesting. And then you have is, of course, Face of the Revolution match. And the winner received a future AEW TNT Championship match against the current champ, Darby Allin, which confirmed participate, which is Cody Rhodes versus Scorpio Sky versus Pentagon El Cero Miedo. So we'll see what's going on because I know it's a lot that's going to be developed. So anyway, that is it for the AEW Dynamite bonus. And yeah, y'all, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere. I mean, I just wish something exciting will be happening for both Impact Wrestling and AEW, especially when it comes to the whole cross-promotion. But I know next week, especially for New Japan Strong, Jon Moxley versus Kenta for the IWGP United States Champion. That's going to be huge, y'all. With that being said, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere. So, as always, a plug. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and on Twitter and on TikTok at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. But on TikTok, the OK is in full OKAY. Make sure to follow my podcast, Adventures in Wrestling, Storytelling Edition, in selected podcasting platform. Also on Instagram at adventures_in_wrestling_podcast, and on my YouTube channel at Adventures in Wrestling by Cindy G. Also, make sure to follow the Bulletcast in all podcasting platforms at the Bulletcast. I know Philip and Brandon will be doing the recap for Elimination Chambers after the pay-per-view ended, so check that out. Also, make sure to follow Bulletcast on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel at Bulletcast, you guys. And comment down below if you're listening to it on the YouTube audio format so I can interact with y'all. And yeah, you guys. So with that being said, please remember to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds, practice social distancing, wear your face mask and face covering at all times. No excuses. And we're still in the winter season, so please stay warm, y'all, alright? And for that, remember to please be kind of one another. We're all in this together. Till then, I'll see you in the next episode of Into the Stratusphere. This is your girl, Cindy G. Stay safe, y'all. Cheers.